And it's interesting that the UU was the American Unitarian Association back in 1920 organized the event of International Conference of Religious Liberals and invited Yogananda, his first trip to the United States, to present his lecture titled The Science of Religion. So this book is an expanded version of a lecture with notes and notation. And we'll be looking at pieces and portions of this lecture during the year as it unfolds. We got a head start on the science part of this, really this summer, when Steve Penny shared his lecture on Spinoza, Nature is God, tying in Emerson and the Transcendentalists. Bill White has a lecture planned. It's been rescheduled twice, but his title is on the scientific method of finding a meaning of life. Not the meaning, but a meaning of life. So that'll be scheduled for this fall. And also this summer made a reference to a book about the life of Tappan Adney by Keith Hellman over in Woodstock. And there's a new biography coming out later this fall on Tappan Adney's life. We did a tour of the courthouse and Connell House over in Woodstock earlier this summer. And it ties in history, science, and culture of this area, which will be part of the science of religion theme. And I'm interested in breaking down on this study project of what we identify as components or parts of religious practice, using scientific method of lecture, structuring what some of these components that we identify might be, that we use here. And some of the lectures will focus on specific components or topics of that. The second book is called Love at the Center, Unitarian Universalism Theologies, edited by UUA President Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt. The book was scheduled for release in October 15th, but publication has now been delayed to January 15th, 2025. So we do not have a hard copy here. It is available as an ebook version, so I have it on my phone, and I'll be using it in the services between now and January. And you can also get that the e-version on Amazon, Apple Books, or Barnes and Noble, and any other electronic. So, in the bulletin, you'll see one of the graphics being used to present these six values, all centered on love. And they're looking for petals of a flower kind of approach, with the six values on the outside, and in the center of the flower would be love and the chalice. And in the bulletin, you'll see breakdown, a short little statement summary of each one of the six values. And there are other versions that are expanded, larger, full paragraph explanation of materials on each one of these values. This would be what appeared in the bylaw change, the succinct wording. And we're not going to go into any of that today. I just wanted to provide this little explanation and a breakdown of those values. One thing that I did purchase, they've come out with a bookmark version, and on the back it has again a breakdown of the 6 specific shared values. And it's not the same wording. It's expanded and a little different variation. So I'm going to use you again, Matt, while I keep talking for the lecture here. If anyone's interested, 25 of these, we'll be ordering more during the year. This will be, take one of these today with you and review the wording. For years, we've been using the classic wallet card that bends, if people even use wallets anymore. But you would slide in and it would put on, the 7 principles are on here, the 6 shared sources, more information about the UUA. It's very small font. They pack it into this little wallet card. And these are still available. We're going to order more of these as well to supplement the study, because it's more explanation, longer, more material on the old version. Part of the appeal of doing a restructure or rebranding of UUA is to have it more succinct. These 6 values are not numbered. There's no particular order or sequence. Before, we would go 1 through 7, and they were listed. But they didn't. They were longer. They had very good content, but they weren't succinct or a summary. If you're trying to talk to someone quickly and explain what we're about, these 6 shared values really are an easier way to identify that quickly and promoting, emphasizing this theology, or what we are about, is centered, and it's a theology of love. Using God language or not, social action, each one of these values come out of that primary theology. It's not creedal, it's not specific, it's a value and an experience related of what is love, and how does that play itself out in organizations, in our work, the movement, social action, and our theology itself. In our own congregation here, we have new people coming to Holton. People are finding us online, on the Facebook page, the Cup Cafe. Really since COVID, we've seen an increase in contact or inquiries. New people looking. Maybe perhaps they have a UU background, perhaps they don't, but they're looking for community, arts, music, a place to discuss theology, spirituality, philosophy, looking for a supportive community, in-person environment. And I believe it's important for us. We did a theme 2 years ago on belongingness, which was part of that discussion. Who are we, and how can we be more inviting, inclusive, transparent to new people who don't no background at all of the UUA. So the timing of this works well for us as we're trying to look at our organizational chart, our interior, our finances, our relationship to the leadership boards, and to the overall life of the congregation, helping people find their part or their role in joining us, or to be here in some aspect of what we're responsible for supporting. So I'm looking forward to exploring the language and these tools that we can use. For merchandising, tote bags are now available with this logo that you have on this morning's bulletin. I haven't seen any t-shirts yet. But the materials and conversations revolving around these values and how relevant I believe that it is to the challenges in our current society of looking for communities where we can have conversations that are political, philosophical, and still have that respect, support, and inviting people to, if they want to become members and be part of that the group process, that's one option, or to just be involved at whatever level a person is comfortable, what they're looking for, to find out, to ask questions, and to assist them, just being us, you Holton, being a part of their life and lifestyle here in Holton. We have what's called the elevator speech that we've worked on here in the past. Is essentially, what would you say if you're going from the 6th floor to the lobby in a hotel, and someone in the elevator asks you, what is the Unitarian Universalism? That gives you about 30 seconds to explain who we are and what we're about. So this is a practice and exercise that UUs have been doing for years, and it'd be interesting to revisit that this year. If someone walked up to you on the sidewalk in Holton and asked about this place, how could you target and clearly say about it quickly? So we'll be working on that this year. What I'd like to do is read from a preface of a book, Love at the Center, and this is written by Sophia Bettencourt. It's a little long, but I feel it will give you a feel for the direction that we're heading. The value most UUs describe as central to their faith, to their living, and to the mission of their congregations is love itself. We are people guided by and centered in our engagement with all that love requires. This should come as no surprise. We have long understood ourselves to be bearers of love and justice in the world, those who show up peace and freedom, who side with love in the face of all that would otherwise diminish our humanity. It is meaningful when a community of people known for diverse and divergent beliefs builds consensus on something that is this impactful. Love is what we express as our highest value. Every time, larger than life, right at the center of our living tradition. Our pressing task now is to ask ourselves and each other how this understanding calls us forward, individually and collectively. We may agree that love is central, but what does that mean to us, and what does it require of us? It is in that spirit that we have asked more than 24 leaders in our movement the question of what it means to put love at the center of our faith. This book, Love at the Center, holds powerful wisdom in response to those important questions. In these pages, you'll find personal testimony to love's power, reminders of the centrality of love throughout the long histories of both Universalism and Unitarianism, and theologies of love drawn from many different expressions of Unitarian Universalism. A common question that UUs often face is how can we be a religion if we do not lay claim to one clearly delineated theological truth? Our answer to that is love. Our inherited theological tradition places its faith in love. Given everything our world faces today, having faith in love is no small thing. The love that lives at the center of this faith is very simply a love that abides. It is a love that expects nothing less of us than the rebuilding of this struggling world. Sometimes what we know of love and justice pushes us in ways we've never expected. And sometimes the need to bear such love into the world is heartbreakingly large. It is in those moments that we most need each other and most need beloved community. We need reminding and solidarity, connection, freely made choice to participate in that greater community can slowly renew us and even repair the kinds of grief that have been building for many of us. To restore what we long to hold at our centers and to heal that which keeps us from being more loving. We hold a love greater than we know between and among us, born from all that we hold holy. It takes many of us in community to insist that a better future is possible, to keep us faithful to our commitments when we err or falter, to remind us that we're constantly connected to a hope-filled belief in human goodness and capacity for love, even when we feel furthest from that, which is larger than our own knowing. My hope is that this volume will offer all of us an invitation to deepen our own expressions and practices of love. May it remind us that our centering in love is not new, but rather a critical core of our inherited theological tradition. When we feel ourselves longing to define love's singular meaning, may we remember the wisdom in these pages, and may they keep us accountable to our freely chosen faith. So in this two-part theme, science, religion, and shared values, I see both the connection between intellect and intuition, or heart and mind, fact, data, and feeling. And you'll see these play out back and forth, integrated. All 6 of these values really cannot be separated. They are so overlapping in our expressions of love itself, from the heart, from our words, our documents, our merchandise, from our mind itself, and all these various expressions. That's the 2 of these totally integrated, working together, heart and mind and soul, that we'll be exploring this year in our field. So in closing, I'd like to repeat the quote in the front to the top of today's bulletin, again by Sophia Betancourt, where she says, "In Unitarian Universalism, you can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, your expansive heart." I invite all of us as a congregation in this upcoming year to explore and to contribute in this study of our community, our relationships, and how deeply those have guided and affected our lives. Love itself, finding expression in this place. We're ready for the holy stick. Rudy and Ollie, can you hear me? Rudy. Ollie. We're ready for the stick. All of us are dying to know. Well, first of all, you come up with the same number or a different number? Okay. So the number is 73 holes.
Wow.
And anyone else here we can all take our shot at this. This was the first attempt to find out how many holes are in this stick. Okay, we're going to hang on that again. What we're going to do as a group is to find which one of these 6 values would be closest to, and maybe more than one, of the inherent worth and dignity of the individual when we look through one of these holes and you see someone special, a holy person. So, be closest to the old principle number 1? Anybody? Okay, I hear pluralism. And I also, in equity, except if you read the fine print on equity, it says every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion, which is a great, again, rendition or working of that powerful idea. And think of the number 73. Let's see. It's kind of like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much, guys. We're going to extinguish the chalice. So I thank you all as we continue this new journey into the theme this year. We have our stick, and we have each other as we move forward into the fall. It's only a few minutes after 11. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. Any comments on this before we'll have some announcements here in a minute.
I like the values. It's all very clear and simple and healthy. I like it. It's good. Good wording and everything.
Are they still keeping the old ones too?
Yeah, so these will be part of the mix, part of our resources. It will just no longer be the official Article 2. They felt this revision it took over 2 years of committees and delegates working on the language and looked at, well, how do we want to express ourselves? This worked in 1987, and so much has happened since then. And we'll be commenting on this as we go, but it's a very interesting process, and we can have our own opinion on this as well. And for how are we going to take these resources and share it in Holton, Maine? What's going to be relevant for us? That I really appreciate that process and how the consensus that was arrived at. It's not easy to go through this kind of review, massive process. Where wording, craftsmanship, the word crafting is so important to come up with when it's finished. Finished documents, which are never finished. It's the arriving and never arriving, and we'll be tweaking this. We'll be reviewed in the next 15 years, and there'll be plenty of opinion and feedback from you congregations of wanting to tweak it a little bit, and that's something that we can do here as well.
We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you'd like to show your support, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and help us out by sharing this message by clicking the share button. If you'd like to make a monetary donation to you, Church Holton, there is a link to our online donations in the video description down below. And again, thank you so much and have a blessed day.